ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे
वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्।
गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ सहना भवतु
सहनाववतु
सहनो
सहनौ
भुनक्तु सह
भुनक्तु सह
वीर्यं
वीर्यं
कर्वावहै
करवावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा
विद्विषावहै
विद्विषावहै।
ॐ
ॐ
शान्ति
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 शान्तिः.
शान्तिः।
So we will continue with where we left off. We had finished off the 18th mantra of the first chapter, the second section. So we are now on the 19th mantra. We will chant. So please unmute yourself. The 19th mantra, first chapter, section 2. Hanta chen manyate hantum
हन्ता
हन्ता चेन्मन्यते हन्तुम्
तश्चेन्मन्यते हतम्
अतश्चेन्मन्यते हतम्
उभौ तौ न विजानीतः
उभौ
उभौ
तौ
तौ न विजानीतः
नायं हन्ति न हन्यते.
नायं हन्ति न हन्यते।
Does it sound familiar?
Yes, second chapter.
Second chapter. So again, just to impress that Gita is not original teaching. Gita is borrowed from the Upanishads. Okay. And this has been borrowed by Krishna in his Bhagavad Gita, especially almost word to word, second line, Ayam Antim and Anyate. Okay. So
And coincidentally, Acharya, that's also the 19th verse.
yeah, that's a nice coincidence. Okay. So this sloka is a very important sloka, and it points out that the problem is what? That we think that we are karta, and therefore we are the bhokta. Because we do something good or do something bad, and therefore it generates punya papa phalam. So remember that whenever you take yourself as a karta, being bhokta is unavoidable. And when being bhokta is unavoidable, you are always worried because you don't know what karma phalam is going to come to bite you. Right? So it's a constant battle in life. There is the invisible karma chasing you. That karma doesn't, you don't see the invisible karma, but the karma never loses sight of you. And this is the symbolism in Ramayana. What is the symbolism?
Vali and Sugriv.
Valiva and Sugriv. Vali is what and Sugriv is what?
Sugriv is the karta and Vali is the karma phalam.
Correct. And therefore Vali is constantly chasing Sugriva. Vali, the karma phalam, is constantly after the karta. And where is Sugriva safe? In that place called Rishimukha. Rishimukha is the Atma, because the teaching about the Atma comes from the Rishi's mouth only. Right? So Rishimukha. And so here Shruti tells us that if you consider yourself as karta, you will never be free of the problem of bhokta. You will never be free of punya papam. You will never be free from fear. So you have to understand what Shruti says. Discover that I am the akarta abhokta atma. And this is what is said here. Ubhau tauna vijanitaha. The one who thinks that either he is a killer or the killed. Now in this case, killer represents what? Karta, and killed represents bhokta. So ubhau tauna vijanitaha. Both are ignorant. Because what both do not know, the higher nature, that is the Atma, which is Akarta and Abhokta. So he is talking about two people, one who thinks he's a killer and one who thinks he is the killed, right? Either way, that's why he says Ubhau. It's a dual case. Both are ignorant and both will never be free from samsara. So Yamraja is revealing the characteristics. Whose characteristics? My own characteristics. As Atma, as Brahman, I, the consciousness principle. And Yamaraja is telling us, first is Nirvikara. Nirvikara means devoid, free from the Shadvikara. And if you are free from Shadvikara, the discussion of Jananam and Maranam is not relevant at all. Because for Atma, these two are not there. Because birth and death are part of the Shadvikara, part of the six. And therefore, if I am not in the cycle of birth and death itself, where is the question of saving me from either birth or from death? And therefore, when we come to Vedanta, when we are studying Vedanta, we have to constantly be redefining this idea of samsara. Samsara is not something which is troubling me all the time. Samsara is a mistaken idea that I am in this cycle of birth and death. This superimposed idea, adhyaropaha, this abhyasa, this is called samsara. So, Brahma, the mistaken idea that I am subject to birth and death, cycle of birth and death. And if the definition of samsara is being refined to say that it's a mistaken idea, what is the definition of moksha? What will be the definition of moksha?
So if samsara is a mistaken idea, then moksha is will refer to being nitya mukta atma.
Moksha is dropping that misconception that I am subject to samsara. If samsara is a misconception, what is moksha? Moksha is freedom from samsara. Therefore, freedom from this misconception is moksha. Right? Therefore, that misconception is a delusion. It's a brahma. It happens in the mind and the mind alone. And therefore, moksha is a correction. And if the mistake happens in the mind, the correction also has to happen only in the mind. Right? So, the idea that I am subject to samsara, that I am a samsari, is a huge moha, it's a huge delusion. And all our Vedantic studies are only for one purpose. It is to get rid of this delusion. Moha nivrittihi. You have to get rid of the delusion. So that is the first idea that Yamaraja says, that you are free from all the changes. Death and birth are the changes. Where is the question of your being subject to death and birth? Just understand that is all that's required. That is the first idea. Second idea conveyed in this mantra is Atma, you are Akarta and Abhokta. Again, this is a derivation from the first idea. If you are Nirvikara, you are naturally Akarta and Abhokta. Why do we say that?
No kartritvam for Atma.
No, you have to explain how does it derive from Nirvikara. You should be capable of logically explaining when a student asks you, okay, you are saying that Atma is Nirvikara, therefore Atma is Akarta. Show me the connection.
So, Acharya ji, if I may speak.
Please,
Yeah.
please.
So, if Atma is Nirvikara, that means it is not subject to any change. Change happens in time. And if it is Akarta, Karta and Bhokta is a concept in time. So, if Atma is Akarta also, then and it is Nirvikara, then that.
Okay, I'll accept that, but there is a better explanation. What is that?
Any action requires a change. So Nirvikar.
Absolutely. There is no action which is done without change. If I'm lifting a glass and moving it from place to place, what is happening? My hand is moving, the glass is moving. Any action requires a change. And something which is actionless can never be a karta. What is the example apart from Atma?
Explained with sunlight, sunshine,
Space of sunlight,
Light,
into
space, all these
space.
things, all pervading. Therefore, that's also a reason. No change. Why? Sarvagataha. Something which is all pervading cannot move. And therefore, there cannot be any change. Therefore, akarta. And therefore, since akarta, therefore, abhokta. Then why do we think that I am akarta, I am karta and bhokta? Because the body mind is always subject to change. And the motions of the body and the mind, the motions of the anatma, are transferred onto the atma, who is me. So my body's movement, I take it as my movement. And since I accept the movement of the body as my movement, remember when I say my, here my is not the RC, my is the OC. Okay. So when I accept the body's movement as my movement, I am transferring the motions of the body onto I, the OC, and therefore the kartrutvam belonging to the body is transferred to me. The moment I accept that I have kartrutvam, then comes bhoktrutvam, then comes punyam, papam, samsara. And therefore, second idea is Atma is akarta, abhokta. And therefore only na ayam hanti na hanyate. This Atma cannot kill, nor can it be killed. So killing here is a generalization, an upalakshanam for all types of karma. Remember, all these ideas we have discussed in Bhagavad Gita also. It's nothing new. So hanti doesn't mean only killing. Hanti is a adjective, kill, which means do any action at all. And therefore, this Atma cannot kill, cannot be a karta, and cannot be killed, cannot be a bhokta, which means cannot be the object of any action by anybody else. Okay, so I cannot be killed, I cannot kill. And therefore only chain manyate hanta hantum. If someone thinks he is the killer, then, or hataschain manyate hatam, somebody thinks he is killed, or he is going to be killed. What is the idea? That you do not know your real higher nature as Atma. The non-killable, non-killing Atma you don't know. The Akarta, Abhokta Atma, that nature you don't know. Remember, at the transactional level, the Vyavaharika Drishti level, all karma, all transactions will continue to happen. Right? You cannot, your understanding should not be that my body mind complex will stop acting when I stop acting. When I realize that I am actionless, when I am akarta abhokta, transactions will still go on. Why? Because all transactions belong where? To the body mind complex. And since right now this particular mind of yours is functioning in a particular complex of body mind complex, you have to appreciate that the prarabdha driven karma will continue to happen. You, as the Atma, are not a participant in those actions. What are you? You are the very substratum, the adhishthanam itself. Right? Once this appreciation is there, that I am the witness consciousness in which the body mind complex functions. It's a very important idea, because very often we say that I don't have any control over most of the actions in my life, don't we?
yes, we do.
Yes, we
Because
think.
you feel that I can't control anything. And that's the root of a lot of sorrow and misery which I have, right? But when I understand that I am the Atma and the body mind complex is functioning in it, And the body-mind complex functions according to its prarabdha karma. It's a very important appreciation, because then you know that you won't say, I don't have control over the karma. You say, I don't need to have. I cannot have control over the karma because that karma does not belong to me at all. Where is the question of my having control over it? That karma belongs to the earth, to the body mind sense complex. Driven by prarabdha, it will do what it has to do. Again, I am not saying that this appreciation will take away sorrow completely, right? But this idea is called abhibhavaha, weakening something, right? Abhibhavaha actually means that you weaken the effect of something by bringing in something more powerful. Many of these, what do you call it, bombs, pain bombs which you use. If you think about it, when you are applying a pain bomb, that is irritating your skin, right? It's creating heat. You are bringing in a more powerful sensation by applying the pain bomb, and focusing on that more powerful sensation, you are losing track of the pain. So weakening the effect of something by taking resort to something more powerful, more strong, this is called abhibhavaha, right? Just like the stars or the moon cannot be seen in the daytime, not because they are not there. Why can they not be seen?
The sun, the light of the sun is so strong.
Exactly. The more powerful light of the sun overpowers the light of the stars or the moon, and therefore they cannot be seen. If they are there, but they are been relegated to the background. Similarly, why am I saying this? Because your samsara can never be eliminated literally in the actual English sense of elimination. There is no question of samsara going away. It's a transactional reality. It is vyavahara, right? But this elimination is achieved by understanding that you don't belong to that plane at all, that you are in a different plane of reality, the absolute plane of reality. You are in the absolute truth plane, which we call paramarthika satyam. In the strength of that idea, in the strength of the idea that a higher plane is there, paramarthika satyam is there, in the strength of that, the vyavaharika satyam sort of becomes less focused. It pales, you might call it. It goes into the background, recedes into the background. It's not that it's not there, but the brilliance of the idea that I am Paramarthika Satyam, basking in that light of consciousness, your Vyavaharika Satyam sort of goes into the background, doesn't trouble you much. And therefore, to sum up, karma phalam is possible only when karma is possible. Karma is possible only when kartritvam, doership is possible. So, if you have to be chased by karma phalam, then you have to have done karma. If you have to have done karma, you have to have the idea of kartrutvam. The I am a doer idea should be present. Kartrutvam, I am a doer idea will be present
when you still identify with the body mind sense complex.
exactly, when deha abhimanam is present. Why do I say kartrutvam will be present when deha abhimanam is present? What is the link?
When I identify with the three shariras,
What is the link? Why is it said that I have doership when I identify with the body? It's a pretty simple answer, actually.
The body is doing the actions, and I think I am the
Absolutely.
body.
It is the body which does the actions. Unless you have deha abhiman, identification with the body, there will never be any kartrutvam present. Therefore, if kartrutvam is present, then deha abhimanam is present. You are identified with the body. Therefore, when the identification with the body is not there, the reverse is true. Doership is not there. When doership is not there, karma is not there. When karma is not there, karma phalam is not there. Karma phalam is not there, samsara is not there. Therefore, the root cause of samsara is your identification with the body. Okay. Now, from this, we can have another small discussion. We are assuming that we are all in the, for the purpose of the discussion at least, right? We are assuming that we are all in the triangular format. What is triangular format? Since I've used that term, what exactly is triangular format?
The Jnani is Jiva Jagat Ishvara.
Ishvara.
Sorry? Come again?
Jiva Jagat and Ishvara.
Jiva Jagataneshwara. Why do we say that? Jiva is the miserable fellow who is being, subject to all the problems of Jagat. Jagat is troubling Jiva, and therefore the only remedy he has is to go to Ishvara in prayer. Therefore, Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara is the triangular format. So when you are in this triangular format, remember that we say or we define moksha as that knowledge, as that jnanam, which will destroy sanchita karma and agami karma, but will not destroy prarabdha karma. Right? This definition is the beginner's definition. Remember, whenever you say that moksha will arise because jnanam destroys sanchita and agami and does not destroy prarabdha. And therefore, since prarabdha is not destroyed, the jnani continues as a jivan mukta because the body has got prarabdha karma. When the karma gets over, exhausted, the body falls, and then the jnani gets videha mukti. Is that correct? Is that the definition? Tattvabodha, you were given
Yeah.
the definition. Gita, all the beginning stages, we were given the definition. When you accept that definition, you are saying what? That jnani has a connection with prarabdha karma. Jnani has prarabdha karma sambandha. Okay, remember that this is a beginner's definition applicable to the mandha madhyama adhikari, the beginner student, and who is definitely in the triangular format because he has got Saguna Ishvara very much in his life, whom he prays to keep him free from problems given by Jagat. Now, we are now in Upanishads, right? This is the third Upanishad that we are doing. Third Upanishad, right? First was Mundaka, second was Kena, and Katha is the third. This is the third Upanishad this week. We are advanced students. So, are you supposed to be in triangular format or binary format? At least during the duration of the class.
In the binary format.
If you are in binary format, what is the binary format? What are the two entities?
Atma, Anatma.
Jagat and Ishvara, myself.
Okay. Atma, Anatma, Jagat, Ishvara is the same thing, right? Now, when you say that you are in binary format, would you have Kartrutvam?
But we have control over it.
So,
No.
In binary format, Ishvara and Jagat. What are you?
Easwaran.
Ishvara.
Ishvara. Do you have doership?
No.
You remember what Krishna says. Even though I create the universe, I don't do anything. Right? So in binary format, there is no question of kartrutvam. You are not identified with the body. Therefore, all the three types of karma are not there for you. Okay. That having been said, in binary format, we said Ishvara. So you still have a body, right? As a jnani, you are equal to Ishvara, yes, but only if you drop the body. Do you understand? As a jnani, I cannot claim that I can do everything that Ishvara does. Can I?
No,
What can I not do?
I cannot create.
I cannot create, I cannot maintain,
I
and I have a
cannot.
tough time maintaining my own wife. Okay, so how is the question of maintaining the universe? Right? So, as a jnani, you cannot do what Ishvara does. And therefore, that part of you which is restricted in doing what Ishvara does is what is the anatma part. You have finite anatma. Ishvara has infinite anatma. That is why he is able to do what he does. Right? Therefore, if you have to say I and Ishvara are the same, you can say only in respect of the consciousness part. Right? And therefore, as a jnani, when I am saying I am Ishvara, I can very happily claim that I have no karma at all. Because I am claiming to be Atma, not the Maya Sahita Atma. Maya Sahita Atma I am not. But there Maya means the entire universe. I have got that body I don't have. I only have this one physical body. I cannot claim that I am Ishvara from the Anatma point of view. Any claim of Aham Brahmasmi is restricted to the consciousness principle alone. Consciousness principle does not have karma. It cannot do anything, akarta, bhokta. Therefore, I don't have any prarabdha at all. Because karma belongs to anatma. Prarabdha belongs to anatma. And therefore, none of these belong to me. Therefore, I am nitya muktaha. I have always been free. I have never had any karma. I have never had any kartatvam. I have never had any bhoktritvam. And this is the real definition of moksha. Nitya mukti is the real definition of moksha. I have moksha. I am free. I will always be free. And if I am always free, I will never be born. I will never die. Why should I bother about punyam, papam, rebirth? These all belong to the anatma. A very important idea here. Jivan mukti and videha mukti, these terms are from the point of anatma, which means they are from the point of triangular format only. They are not from the binary format. As students of binary format, you are not bothered about rebirth. You are not bothered about Jivan Mukti. You are not bothered about Videha Mukti because you have always been free. Where is the question of being affected by any karma at all? Do you understand?
Yes.
Any question?
Yes.
A very, very important one. We didn't talk about this Nitya Mukti part in Bhagavad Gita because we were beginning students. But now you are not.
And knowing that I have nothing to gain or lose or punnam papam, we still
Munmun, slightly louder. I can't hear you.
I said ki even knowing that I am Nitya Mukta and I have nothing to do with all these three karma, papam, punnam, but still we have to live our religious and ethical life to set exam.
When you say I,
No,
have
I
nothing to
means
do with, no, no.
I
When you say I, you have used I twice. I have nothing to do with this, and I have to lead a religious life. Those two I's are different.
yes. So I being OC, I have nothing to do with all these
Full
things.
stop. That's it. That's over. Then you cannot say that I have to lead a religious life.
Now because uh, so if I stop there and then for example still
That's
this
it.
body.
That's where you have to stop. If you are moving into the I am leading a religious life, you are moving into Vyavahara. You are
Hmm,
back to Saguna Brahman, triangular format.
why am
So you have to develop the attitude of Sarva Vyavara Agochara.
Vyavahara Gochara itself means that you are free from all actions. You are karta,
oh,
not touched by any actions.
will not that lead to wrong action because
By whom? You can't do any actions. Where is the question of wrong action at all?
by the body mind
Will
which
it?
I
Remember that this is the subtlest idea which we have to accept. We have to understand thoroughly that the body mind complex actions have nothing to do with your status as Brahman.
yes
Yes, but
I know
that what is to be resolved.
that is correct Acharya but what I was saying ki that concept by chance I mean wrongly will lead ki I as I am OC I have nothing to do with this body can do anything.
Which who will say that?
OC can't say but
She cannot even think. So she
uh,
only lends, you know,
yes
existence and consciousness of the body. Now the point is when you have to come to this stage where you can say I am OC, what are the previous stages?
yeah yes
You
all those
cannot come to the OC stage until your body mind has been tempered with sadgunas, sadhana chatushtayam. And therefore, by the time you come to the stage, you are soaking in that virtuous,
yeah
20 virtues, which Krishna talks about. There is no question of your RC doing anything wrong.
correct thank you.
Okay. Now we go to the next mantra, the 20th mantra. We will chant. So please unmute yourself. Anoraniyan mahato mahiyan
Anor
Anuraniyan mahato mahiyan
atmasya jantor nihito guhayam
atmasya janto
Atmasya
nihito
jantornihito
guhayam
guhayam
tam kratuh pasyati vita shokah
samakratuः
ततुः
पश्यति
पश्यति
वीतशोकः
वीतशोकः
tu prasadan mahimanamaatmanah
Dhatu
धातु
धातुप्रसादान्
प्रसादान्
महिमानमात्मनः
महिमानमात्मनः
So Yamraj continues. So he says, what he's saying here is that Atma is the substratum of everything. Atma is Sarva Adhishthanam. Right? It's a very important mantra and a very complete mantra because it talks about several things. Atma Swarupaha, that is to say, the nature of the Atma. Atma Swarupa Jnanam, the knowledge about the nature of the Atma. Atma Swarupa Jnana Sadhanam, the discipline required to acquire the knowledge of the Atma, nature of the Atma. And Atma Swarupa Jnana Phalam. All four things he talks about. What is the nature? What is the phalam which you get? What is the benefit which you get by knowing the Atma Swarupa? So let's look at it. Runoraniyan Mahato Mahiya. This is the nature of the Atma. First one, Atma Swarupaha. Anoho aniyan. Anoho aniyan means smaller than the smallest. So Atma is the Atma alone appears as the smallest of the smaller than the smallest object in the universe. Atma alone is appearing in that form. How do you say? What is the Nama Rupa when Atma is the smaller than the smallest?
Atom.
Atom is fine, but I would say you go to quantum physics where you got, electrons, protons, wave particles. Anything you say which are Nama Rupa, that is Atma only. So Atmaha Anoho Aniyan. Atma is the smallest object in the universe. Smaller than the smallest one you can think of. Anoho Aniyan means whichever smallest object you think of, Atma is smaller than that. Right? Thus, quantum physics, which talks about the micro universe, that itself is talking about Atma only. Then is Mahato Mahiyan, greater than the greatest. Right? The macro universe, where there are galaxies which are light years in dimension, thousands of light years in width, that is also Atma. Atma alone appears as the biggest object also. So the nature of Atma is such that smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. What is it? What is it? Atma alone. Right? Why is this so? So here it's now Shankara's commentary is very interesting. So I'll just give the Sanskrit words also for those who understand Hindi, it'll be easy to understand. Yat vastuhu loke asti. What does it mean? Any object which exists in the world. Yat vastu loke asti. Any object which is there in the world. Anu va mahat. Whether it be big or small. Tat te atmavat sambhavati. It enjoys existence only because of Nityena Atmana, because of Nitya Atma. That existence itself is borrowed where? From Atma. Whether it be big or small, it doesn't matter. In other words, any object, if separated from Atma, now separation from Atma is not possible, okay? Why is it not possible?
It is all pervading.
Atma is
All
everywhere.
pervading. Therefore, you cannot separate. But for the purpose of explanation, any object, when separated from Atma, will not be there at all, cannot exist at all. And this is what is meant by Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Every object is having a dependent existence upon them. So that is the one part of it. Then, that is the Atma nature, nature of the Atma. What is that? Bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest, lending existence to every object in this universe, and therefore the substratum of everything. That is the nature of the Atma. And then the second part was Atma Swarupa Jnana, the knowledge regarding the Atma. Now here, we have to understand that any of the pramanam that we have are designed to see what? Name and form only. Your eyes, your ears, your sense of smell, your sense of touch, sense of taste. They can grasp only Namarupa, the Shadvikara Amsha. That part which is subject to change, only that part can be grasped by your instruments of knowledge, sense organs, or whatever instruments you choose, telescope, microscope, whatever. The changeless part, Nirvikara Amsha, is beyond the reach of any instrument. And this is a very important idea because whatever you look for using these instruments, remember that the Nirvikara Amsha, the changeless portion, consciousness principle, existence principle, cannot be grasped by those instruments. And therefore, all the searching that we do takes us from one Nama Rupa or to another Nama Rupa. No idea we should know. And then, so he says, Jantoho Guhayam Nihitaha. So Jantoho is Jantu. Asya Jantu. Jantu is that which is born. Okay, so that Jantoho Guhayam Nihitaha. Nihitaha, found in, hidden in, resident in, residing in. Guhayam is the cave, and normally we know that when we say cave in Shastra, it refers to what? The mind. Therefore, this Jantu, this animal, is hidden in the mind. So actually, other way around. This Atma is hidden in the mind of this animal, not this animal is hidden. Okay, because animal is subject to birth and death. Atma we are talking about, Atma is not subject to birth and death. Therefore, Asya Atma, this Atma, Jantoho Guhayam Nihitaha. Jantu is the animal, in this case, the human being. So, this Atma is hidden in the mind of the human being. And in the mind, there are two factors. What are they? In the mind, there are always two factors, like anywhere else, just not the mind. Anywhere in the universe, there are only two factors, Atma and Atma. So, in the mind, the non-variable factor is consciousness. The variable factor is what?
The anatma,
The vrittis.
vrittis.
These the thoughts, the emotions, these are the variable factors. So in the mind, there are two factors always. One is variable, one is non-variable. Variable is the thoughts and emotions, non-variable is the consciousness. Therefore, in the mind, if you convert this into, terms of Vedanta, in the mind there are two things, Satchidananda and Namarupa. The non-variable factor is Satchidananda. The variable factor is Namarupa. And this Satchidananda, this consciousness, the invariable consciousness, is there all the time, even if there are no thoughts. How do you know? Normally you have thoughts, right? And because consciousness is there, the thoughts are recognized. But when you have no thoughts, remember that having no thoughts is also recognized by the non-variable consciousness. When you say, I had no thoughts during Sushupti, you are saying, I know that I had no thoughts during Sushupti. How do you know? Because this invariable consciousness, non-varying consciousness, is permanently present in you, whether you are awake, sleeping, or in Sushupti Avastha. Now, we know that what comes and goes is mithya. What doesn't come and go, is always present, is satyam. What comes and goes? All the varying thoughts. Raga, Dvesha, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Matsaryam, Jagrada Avastha, Swapna Avastha, Sushupti Avastha. Everything comes and goes. What is there in common in all these avasthas? That invariable Satchidananda is there. And that Satchidananda Atma has to be understood as I. The non-variable consciousness which remains while the variable thoughts, raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, everything come and go. This is the second idea being conveyed. Atma Swarupa Jnanam. Okay. Then the third piece said was Atma Swarupa Jnana Sadhanam. Right, so tam kratuhu pasyati vita shokaha. So tam here means that. That means that Atma who is, Shankara writes, that Atma who is recognized, which is recognized by what? By the activities of darshana, seeing, shravana, hearing, mananam, thinking, vijnanam, knowledge. So these activities, these are the indicators for the presence of that sentiency, which is tam, that atmanam. Right? And therefore, whenever you think, you hear, you talk, you are knowing, remember all these activities. In and throughout these activities, you must recognize that I am able to do all these things only because Atma is there. And therefore he says akratuhu. So that the tam kratuhu has to be broken. Tam plus kratuhu. Kratuhu means a person who is, so Shankara defines actually. Akamaha. Akratuhu means akamaha. The one who has vairagyam, who has no desires. And therefore, whose intellect has withdrawn from, again Shankara writes, drishta, adrishtaha, bahya vishayaha, uparata buddhihi. Uparata means withdrawn. Buddhihi is intellect. So this akratuhu, this person who has got vairagyam, what has he done? Buddhihi uparataha. He has withdrawn his mind from drishta adrishta bahya vishayaha, from the objects which are seen, that is, in this objects of attraction in this world, and adrishta bahya vishaya, and objects in the next world. Ihaloka paraloka vishaya is what is meant by drishta adrishta bahya vishaya. He has withdrawn, got total dispassion towards objects in this world and the next world. Different words, but remember that this is the same definition given in Tattva Bodha. Right? So mind is subject to all vikaras, satvika, rajasika, and tamasika. Satvika thoughts come to us occasionally, right? Rajasika thoughts, tamasika thoughts also come to us. Here he is saying that this person has withdrawn. The Atma has none of these vikaras. All these vikaras belong to the Anatma only. Then he says, Sarvatmakaha. So Sarvatmakaha is a definition, a paribhasha shabda, a technical word. Sarva atmakaha. Here atmakaha means in the form. So sarva atmakaha. This atma alone appears in the form of every object in the universe. And that is why we say whether it is the biggest or whether it is smallest, it is atma only. Right? And why does he say akratuhu? Because when you have to address the desires in your mind, you need time and effort, right? To address the desires. Even to fulfill the desires, time is required, effort is required. So many desires are there, but the mind is only one. And therefore, if you keep on running after your desires, you're going to use up the entire capacity of your mind. The amount of time available for you for shastric effort is going to be almost nothing. And if Atma is only one among the multiple desires, how much time am I really going to put forward for Atma? Right? Therefore, the priority for moksha has to be moved up. Right? You know that people who practice for even World Cups and World Cricket, they put in huge amount of time and focus on their practice. How much more commitment do you think moksha will require? Much, much more. Because the highest possible achievement. And the only way to reach this is to understand that these material goals, they are nothing in comparison to the spiritual goal. And this you discover through karma yoga, and which gives sadhana chatushtayam, vairagyam, mumukshutvam, right? Then the next word you look at is Dhatu prasadat. Last word, dhatu prasadan. When you broken up, it becomes dhatu prasadat. So dhatu here means your various sense organs, karmendriya, jnanendriya, etc., and mind, etc. And prasada means grace. So the grace of your sense organs must be available. Dhatu prasada. Which means what? They must be available for spiritual study. Finally, in terms of Tattva, this simply means Samadhi Shat Sampatti. Thus, it indicates a person who understands that external material gains are nothing in comparison to the spiritual value of moksha. This is what is meant by this particular word. And Mahimanam Atmanaha. This person who has Dhatu Prasadam, who has Chat Sampatihi, Mahimanam Atmanaha, he recognizes the glory of the Atma. And where is the glory of the Atma given? We saw it in great detail in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And since before coming to this Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita has been understood. And Krishna says, Aham Atma Gudakeshaha Sarvabhutasthasitaha. That he has understood. That the glory of the Atma he has understood. And therefore that person knows the value of Jnana. And he will come to Jnanam. And the last one is Jnana Phalam. So we have to go back to the second line, Vita Shokaha. He is free from Vita Shokaha, free from sorrow. And free from sorrow means also free from Raga and Moha. Because all these are belonging to the mind. Satvika vritti, Rajasika vritti, Tamasika vritti. Therefore, the Jnani is a person who has disowned the mind. So we say in English, we say has transcended the mind. But actually, it transcends the conditions of the mind. And the 14th chapter, Krishna says, Gunatitaha. He has gone beyond the three gunas. Okay. Any questions so far? All very, very beautiful definitions. These mantras are very well worthwhile remembering by heart, committed to memory. Okay, we can do one more mantra. We have 7 minutes, so we will chant the 21st mantra. Please unmute yourself. Asino duram rajati.
Asino
Asino
duram
duram
rajati
rajati.
Shayano yati sarvataha.
Shayano
Shayano
yati
yati
sarvataha
sarvataha.
Kastam madam devam.
kastam
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 madam
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 devam
devam.
Tanyo gyatum arhati.
madan
madanyam
Madanyamarhati.
Okay. So use language of
देश का फोन
contradictions.
आया था इस बीच वही, तो मैंने बस उसको बंद करके टेक्स्ट कर दिया था कि मैं क्लास में हूँ, बाद में करते हैं।
So this mantra is using the language of contradictions. Asino, sitting, duram rajati. It goes far. While sitting, the Atma goes far. Shayanaha, while sleeping, sarvataha yati. It goes everywhere. Kaha vadanya, who else other than me, gyatum arhati, can know tad devam, that Lord, that effulgent one, Madhamadam, that effulgent one which is both joy and non-joy. Very contradictory statements. So Yamaraj is talking about what? The two aspects of Atma. One is the OC and one is the RC. The original nature and the apparent nature. The apparent nature we all know, we all understand the original nature has to be learned through the scriptures. Like the crystal which is kept next to a rose flower. It appears to be red, but it is seen to be red, so the apparent nature is red, but you know that the crystal is colorless. That has to be learned. Therefore, original nature of the crystal is colorless. The apparent nature is red. The red is a transferred color, apparently transferred color, because transference has not really happened, right? So it's the same way Upanishad says that you, the Atma, have a real original nature, Satchit Ananda. But because you are in the proximity of your Upadhi, the body, mind, sense complex, all the conditions which actually belong to the body, mind complex, they are falsely transferred to I, the Atma, to me, the Atma. And then I claim these attributes as mine. Right? So attributes are dharma, called dharma. And therefore these borrowed attributes. Borrowed why? Because upadhi is there. And therefore sopadhi. Sopadhi, upadhi saha. With the upadhi. So sopadhika dharma is the name for these borrowed attributes. Remember the definition of upadhi. Upadhi is that which lends attributes because it is proximate. Lends falsely attributes because it is proximate. Like the sky. We say the sky is blue, but we know that there is only space. The blueness is therefore sopadika dharma. The original nature of the sky, colorless space, is niropadika dharma. And in our context, the nirupadika dharma of mind means I, the Atma, I have the nirupadika dharma of Sat Chit Ananda, while I have the sopadika dharma of man, woman, tall, small, thin, fat, etc. Right? And therefore he says that Atma does not travel. Why does not travel? All pervading. Therefore the motionless nature of the Atma is Nirupadika dharma. But when the body travels from place to place, I say I am traveling. This is Sopadika dharma. So look at the verse. Asino duram rajati. Remaining stationary. This is Asinaha. Remaining stationary. This is Nirupadika dharma. Duram rajati. Travels all over. This is from the standpoint of the body. Sopadika dharma. And since I don't know the Nirupadika dharma, I take this Sopadika dharma as my original nature. Then, Shayano yati sarvataha. In Sushupti Avastha, what happens? Atma is stationary. Sarvataha yati, but extends all over the Sushupti Avastha. This means that even though I am the all-pervading OC, I think that I am the body, and therefore I am located in one place. So if somebody asks you, where are you? You always say here. Remember, here is where your body is located. Right? Therefore, the localization is because of body identification only. In deep sleep, in Sushupti Avastha, that identification is gone. So I am no longer localized. Therefore, in that Sushupti Avastha, the localization triggered by the body is withdrawn, and therefore Atma is all pervading. Sarvataha yati, traveling all over, has to be understood as having lost the limitation caused by my body identification. It is as if I have converted myself from the localized Atma of the Jagrada Avastha to the expanded, all-pervading Atma of Sushupti Avastha. Of course, the moment I wake up, body comes back, and therefore I come back into my original localized state. So with this, we'll stop for today. We haven't finished, so we'll continue with it in the next class. Any questions? Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience. Om Om.
Thank you so much, Acharya.